profit, which accounts for about half of every healthcare dollar, their bean counting, and their interference between doctor and patient. Now, I therefore propose a doctor-run, single-payer national health program. As a step toward the living wage, I propose that the minimum wage be indexed for inflation, and over a 10-year period be raised to what it would have been had it been so indexed at its creation, currently over $14 an hour. As I'm sure you know, the previous administration resigned under threat of impeachment. They were being impeached over their exploitation of the 9/11 tragedy to deceive this nation into unnecessary and illegal wars of aggression. The evidence of their guilt was overwhelming. This evidence is in the PNAC document calling for the permanent occupation of Iraq, justified by a new Pearl Harbor. It is in Richard Clarke's book, in which he notes an immediate attempt by the Bush administration to tie Iraq to 9/11 regardless of the facts. It is in videotaped statements by Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld themselves attempting to use 9/11 to justify the Iraq War. It is in CIA documents showing that Wolfowitz, Pearl, Libby, Feith, and others cherry-picked intelligence for use by Cheney and their other bosses. It is in the Downing Street memo, which says that the intelligence was being tailored to fit the policy. And it is in speeches by me and others prior to the invasion of Iraq, in which we laid out the truth, predicted the inevitable results, and noted that such an invasion would be an impeachable offense and an act of treason. There is also evidence of a massive cover-up with respect to 9/11 itself. The official 9/11 report, tightly controlled by the White House, amounts to little but a gigantic whitewash. When combined with the confiscation of videotapes, audio tapes, black boxes, and other evidence by the FBI, it is clear that regardless of who was responsible for 9/11, the subsequent cover-up was itself a conspiracy involving elements of the White House and the intelligence establishment. Now, this is important because, remember, Richard Nixon wasn't undone by the 2-bit break-in at the Watergate, but for the cover-up. Bill Clinton wasn't impeached for his sexual encounters with Monica Lewinsky, but for stretching the truth when asked about it. Scooter Libby wasn't convicted for leaking Valerie Plane's identity, but for lying about when he learned about it. Martha Stewart didn't serve time for insider trading, but for not telling the truth. Is there anyone who believes the Bush administration always told us the truth about 9/11? Well, this raises the question, if the Bush administration had nothing to hide, why did they hide everything? Were they covering up guilt or incompetence? And if it was incompetence, why was no one fired or demoted or court-martialed or even reprimanded? And if it was guilt, were the guilty parties Saudis, Pakistanis, Israelis, Americans, all of the above? And why on earth aren't the people's representatives in Congress asking these questions and demanding answers? The American people still have not been told who was really responsible for 9/11. Dedicated researchers have proven that it couldn't have happened the way the Bush administration said it did. Hijacked airliners do not fly around for an hour and 40 minutes without being intercepted, unless our air defense system was deliberately sabotaged. Indestructible black boxes do not evaporate in the same fire from which a passport floats down to the street undamaged. And steel skyscrapers do not implode and collapse at free fall speed because of a kerosene fire. aircraft. Buildings do not collapse at all because of a kerosene fire. You know, if the burning of jet fuel had an effect on steel, there would be no such thing as a jet engine, right? They'd all evaporate. Well, and of course, Building 7 wasn't even struck by an aircraft. If you've never seen a video of Building 7 coming down, you should. I've got a 3-minute video that you really ought to see. Now, millions of 9/11 truthers all around the country believe that this is one of many smoking guns that prove 9/11 was an inside job. But even if they're wrong, even if the official conspiracy theory is essentially correct, you know, the one about 19 Arabs with box cutters and an old man on a dialysis machine in a cave. Even if that official conspiracy theory is essentially correct, the American people still need to know why their multi-trillion-dollar defense establishment was unable to protect even their own headquarters from an unarmed aircraft. The truth about 9/11 is that after 6 years, we still don't know the truth about 9/11, and we should. I am therefore appointing a commission to conduct a new and truly independent investigation of 9/11. It will have oversight by a few of you in Congress, by Senator Max Cleland, by Dr. David Ray Griffin, noted theologian of the 9/11 Truth Movement, by Karen Breitweiser and Mindy Kleinberg of the Jersey Girls representing the families of victims, and by Sybil Edmonds and other whistleblowers in the FBI. They will have full subpoena power, able to require sworn public testimony from anyone, up to and including me and the previous president and vice president. I think we've had enough so-called testimony behind closed doors with no oaths and no transcripts. This time we want the truth. The new commission will examine all the evidence, even that which seems to contradict the official story, and it will have no predetermined conclusions about who the conspirators were. There have been all too many Pearl Harbors, Gulfs of Tonkin, 9/11s, and Reichstag fires. We must make it clear that the truth will out. Never again must we allow this nation to be stampeded into war under false pretenses. Speaking of war, the new Secretary of Defense, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and I have redefined 2 basic missions for our armed forces: to deter anyone from attacking the United States with weapons of mass destruction, and to defend our shores and borders from foreign invasion, period. This redefinition of mission will, after a few years of transition, result in a peace dividend of $400 billion per year. No one joining the ranks of the jobless. Until new contracts come out for renewal.